Welcome to this episode of Life Science Success. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Don, and I am a digital marketer in life sciences. And before we get into our interview today, I have just a quick message from our sponsor. Episode of Life Science Success is brought to you by D3 Digital Media Marketing. Dive into the digital world with confidence and creativity on your side. D3 Digital Media Marketing is your all-in-one solution for making a lasting impact online. From the vibrant, engaging world of social media marketing, podcasts, and webinars to the strategic depths of website development, SEO, pay-per-click, email, and content marketing, we tailor our approach to fit your unique brand story. Let's elevate your presence, connect with your audience, and drive success together. Your digital journey starts here. Visit d3digitalmedia.com to learn more. Today on the Life Science Success Podcast, my guest is Wahid Awad. Wahid is the CEO and founder of Rosetta Omics, an innovative deep tech biotech startup focused on unlocking the path to precision medicine through spatial multiomics, profiling, and AI in cancer research. So with that, welcome.
Thank you very much, Don, for having me.
Yeah, thanks a lot for being here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's great to have you. And so I had asked before the show, just for anybody that's also watching us online here. You have a really nice background there, and so can you just share with the guests just a little bit about where you're sitting and what the background is?
So actually, I'm sitting now in a huge library. It's in Paris. So actually, we are incubated in an incubator here called Agaranov. So it's one of the most prestigious incubators here in Paris. They actually produce five unicorns. One of them, the famous Doctolib. It's a very famous company here in France that actually connects patients with doctors. And we are lucky to have been accepted in this incubator. It's in the center of Paris, in a six arrondissement. So yeah, lucky to be here. And today I was able to have the full library for myself for the full afternoon. So I'm quite lucky to be here.
That's perfect, and yeah, I mean it is a very nice background. A lot of people, come there in offices and other things, and yeah, it looks like just a great space. So, could you tell us a little bit about your journey from Egypt to founding Rosetta Omics in France?
Yeah, totally. It started in 2008. So in 2008, I left Egypt after my undergrad and military service, and been teaching also for a year at Cairo University, where I was PA, teaching assistant, in the track to be a full professor. So what happens in Egypt when you are graduating at the top of the class, you hire directly to teach. And then, yeah, I got a scholarship to go to Wageningen University. This is a Dutch way to say Wageningen, but if you read it in English, it's Wageningen. It's one of the top life sciences universities in the world. It was my dream to do my master's there. And, I was lucky enough to have the scholarship where I went for biotechnology master's. And then my dream was to actually continue my education in the US, to do a PhD in the US after going back to Egypt to be a professor. So actually, I did a little trip as an internship at University of Florida in Gainesville in the Genetics Institute, where I wanted to discover if the US is a good place for a PhD or not, and is Florida is a good state to do a PhD for 4 years or not. I liked it a lot. It was okay as an experience, but still, it was too humid for me, even though I come from Egypt. But I still, also the subject maybe I couldn't find the subject I was looking for, so I decided to switch states, and I chose the great state of Colorado. I really love Colorado, so I went to Colorado State University. So actually, this is where I also had to go back to Egypt for a little paperwork to get promoted and the track to be a full professor at Cairo University. Meanwhile, did a little revolution, been part of the Egyptian revolution in 2011. So lots of politics, leadership, and teaching. And then yeah, since 2011 and until 15, I was at Colorado State University (CSU) in Fort Collins, where I was also again very lucky, but also I carried with me the revolution initiatives, the revolution momentum, I would say. So I was really very much engaged in leadership activities at the department level, the college level, the university level, the national level in the US, representing my colleagues, the students of Colorado State and other states. Been lucky also to go to the Capitol Hill and meet some congressmen and senators. Meanwhile, I was so much also engaged in research and teaching. So I was teaching also 3 times a week. I was an RA. Did a lot of crazy things for a human being to do. In 4 years, I had so much energy. I enjoyed so much. I had so many opportunities there. So it was a great, one of the greatest experiences of my life. And then I said, okay, maybe this. So it was the end of my actually PhD, and I was honestly like there in Fort Collins, finishing my writing my PhD, and in the same time having some offers, to stay in the US, or I should go back to Egypt too, where I was a professor. But then, meanwhile, I received an email from a French researcher telling me that he saw my CV and my research projects, which is in parallel with what he's looking for a postdoc research in Versailles. So I was like, that's interesting.
Right.
The first thing I said to him, like, I don't speak French. I knew how to say probably a couple of French words at that time. He said, I don't care. I want to, hire an international team. So, okay, I accepted the offer and I came here. So I came to France in 2015. Again, I had to go back to Egypt for paperwork, for my promotion and stuff to stay in my track as a professor. And then I came to Paris in 2015, and then 9 years later, I'm here. Actually, I didn't stay for too long in the postdoc because then, I will think we'll come back to this subject later. A lot of things happened, including the diagnosis of my father with cancer. So I wanted to switch career and switch from academia to industry, the pharma industry, to learn everything about cancer. And 5 years, working with a French American company, where I was really lucky also to have this opportunity as I got promoted, like I think 4 or 5 times in 4 years, from a business development manager to director of strategy and alliances to chief business officer and a board member. Where I led also internal projects and subsidiaries and built my own team in different countries, including the US, in Boston, where I was lucky to go back and forth between Paris, Montpellier, Boston, and Copenhagen too, where I also built a subsidiary there until 2022, where it was the moment to start my own journey, my own company, and that was Rosetta Omics, where I also started at the same time an MBA, an executive MBA at ECP Business School, which is one of the top schools. It's third worldwide, first in Europe in MBA. So I was like very lucky to also have the return of investment on the MBA to apply everything I'm learning from the MBA in the startup, having also almost more than 20 students working with me on the business plan, in the market study, in the evaluation of Rosetta, in the R&D, everything you can imagine. Been having an overwhelming support from the school, and I think I can speak forever about that, but just to summarize, I started in March 2022, working for a year and a half by myself. Then in during this 1 year and a half, I was doing an MBA, looking for my best partners, co-founders, advisory board members, partnerships with hospitals, with companies, and at the end, the company was officially registered last year in October. So next month will be the first anniversary of Rosetta.
Perfect. So why don't we just, I mean, since you happen to mention cancer with your father, I mean, I think it probably is important as well to just share your personal tie, to cancer and what kind of led you to this point of just saying, hey, look, I want to focus on cancer research?
So yeah, I mean, for me, as I used to be this kind of child where the father is proud of because I was, good in school, university, being a professor, going to study abroad in different countries. And then the moment my father was diagnosed with cancer, I was here in France, and he would he would think that I would save him because of the knowledge, the science, the connections also I had in different countries, including Egypt, the US, Netherlands, France. But unfortunately, I was not that. My father thought too high of me. He thought I could save his life by bringing him the right medicine, putting him in the right hospital, telling someone in Egypt, like maybe the minister of health, to take care of him. So he expected a lot from me, and I did not deliver because I didn't have much to deliver at that time. I didn't even understand much cancer in 2016, 2017. So I felt a little bit disappointed because I couldn't help at all. I just
Sure.
had to work and die like everyone else, like all my brothers and sisters and everyone. And the way also I saw the way it's being treated, cancer. I don't think this is particular to Egypt, but honestly, everywhere we can do better than this. So instead of course, I had a big shock by his passing very quickly. I didn't believe it, and I did not accept it. It was for me it's too early. He was in a great health, and I was planning to spend many more years with him, going back to Egypt to visit him more often, spend more time with him. So this for me was unacceptable, and as a scientist, uh, I had to do something. So this is why I switch from academia doing basic research into the pharma industry, trying to learn everything about diseases, about how we develop drugs, how we run clinical trials, to understand more and prepare myself for the moment where I think I was ready enough to start my own cancer company in precision medicine. I think there's so much we can do about cancer treatment, the way we treat cancer, and I think that what we do at Rosetta Omics is, one step in the right direction, which is personalized medicine or precision medicine. We are different as humans in our immune system, in our response to treatments. So I think it's a bad idea to treat all patients as one patient. That's what we're trying to unlock with Rosetta. And of course, as you can imagine, I'm sure you had a lot of meetings, interviews with entrepreneurs. It's really challenging journey to build a company from scratch in a very complicated field like cancer. So every time I have a challenge, I just remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it for my father, and I'm doing it for the fathers of other people that I don't want them also to lose their fathers prematurely. So every time I have a big challenge, I just keep pushing and pushing, and it's really as the French said, my boost, my direction. I know where I'm going. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and the story of my father just gives me strength and motivation, and just reminds me that I can never give up. Giving up is not even an option for me, and really, like I'm very motivated, and I already decided I'm going all the way, hopefully to help out, with so many other brilliant scientists and business and entrepreneurs who are trying to solve this, mystery of cancer and hopefully other diseases as well.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think it's important, one for people to understand. I often say have said in episodes that I feel like, I mean, and this is probably true for a lot of different disease areas, that people who have a personal connection um inside of this field seem to be seem to be all over the place. We seem to have an awful lot of people that have had somebody who's been impacted by cancer, and that becomes, kind of the driving force behind individuals. I would also think that your global experiences have to help you as well in terms of perspectives. How does things like living in different countries shape your biotechnology experience and your entrepreneurship experience?
Well, as I said, yeah, earlier, I was lucky, but also probably also it was in the right moment in the right place to have been able to have all those experiences in different countries. Actually, if you look at my LinkedIn, I said somewhere I studied in 13 countries, which is true. A lot of them coming from my MBA, which I did study between 8 countries. And that's what ECP offers. It's a great business school. So I cannot, yeah, I cannot tell you, explain to you how much this is actually have been instrumental in my way of living, in my way of thinking. It's, as you said, it's a very global way of thinking. I don't anymore belong to a specific country or culture or geographical region. I feel like I'm a global citizen. So everything I'm doing, the way I'm thinking is very global. So I have the Egyptian, way of thinking in different ways, the Dutch way, the American way, the French way. And also I'm very lucky because I've been exposed to so many different people from all those different cultures where I was studying with or live or working with. And then you learn, from all of those people around you. And then when you also then drawing your dreams, your objectives, now everyone that spoke to me knows very well that what we're trying to build at Rosetta is a global company serving every patient in every corner of the world. So I'm not building a French company or an Egyptian company or an American company or a Dutch company. What I'm trying to build is a company that can serve every patient everywhere. And I can absolutely say I can work with anyone from any culture at this stage of my life with all the studying and working I did with that so many people from all different cultures. There's almost no country that I didn't speak with one person from this country in a studying level or work level. So this actually helps me a lot in building and forging collaborations and partnerships. So today, yesterday, I had 7 meetings. On those 7 meetings, you would see that they are with people from 7 different countries, and out of those seven different countries, at least there are 4 continents in one day. So, and then you see me switching different languages, in the same day. So now I'm speaking with you in English. This morning I was having a meeting in French, and yesterday was in Arabic. So it's also one. It's like my brain has no other option but being very elastic and flexible and adaptable to the different profiles and different languages, different cultures, different contexts. And since I'm in the middle of fundraising right now, I am lucky enough to speak with tens of angel investors, or at least potential angel investors, from my network. And it's for me one way also to connect with those people that I have in my network for many years, especially on LinkedIn, where I have like 28 connections. And there's not always a good opportunity to speak with those people, the people that you admire and you know for years, but there's no way to speak with them. There's no subject. So fundraising for me was a great opportunity to speak to all those people and tell them this is what we're building. It would be great to connect. So I had meetings with from countries you wouldn't even imagine that I would like to also explore as a potential expansion for Rosetta. We're not talking here only about Europe and the US, but we're actually even talking about way beyond that as well. And you will see that a lot of people that from completely different culture and background, they can easily connect with you and they can see the purpose of what you're trying to build, and overwhelming support from those people that maybe sometimes they cannot invest because they don't have the money at the moment. But you can see that they want to help you. They want to connect you with hospitals, with companies, with other potential investors. So I think, yeah, I'm very lucky to have been born in this moment of history where we can travel the world, where we can have this kind of communication. You are in Colorado, I'm in Paris, two different continents, and we still can have a way to communicate. And hopefully, there are a lot of people actually are watching today from different continents, at different time zones. So we are really
Yeah.
lucky, and I'm very, very lucky, and actually happy to be born in this moment. I'm trying actually to build on it, to build bridges. I told you before we started recording that I had a call yesterday. It was an NGO from Colorado asking me to help them with with their NGO that is trying to bring as many immigrants and refugees to have education. Something also that stimulates me a lot. I'm here after 9 years of living in Colorado. I'm still in contact. I have some people in my advisory board, or some angel investors from Colorado, and now maybe I will be helping out this NGO. So yeah, there's so much
Great.
to see.
Yeah, it's I mean it definitely is an interesting journey, but I also find that having global experience, you have something else to draw from. I always found it interesting, and maybe this carries through more of Europe than I really truly understand, but because I haven't lived or worked in most of Europe. However, I've spent a fair amount of time in the Nordic region, and with that, I mean, I always found that coffee time is most important there in terms of sort of connecting and making sure that people understand what's going on and sort of translating things. You come to the US and there's a completely different sort of culture and like how we connect and how we make sure that things are going on. The same thing in Asia. I mean, there are similar sort of connection points, but they're different structurally and things like that. But it is important to like understand not only the cultural differences but also be able to sort of relate, and then that becomes, I feel like, as you said, I mean, it's a great point whenever you can draw from that experience even further.
Yeah, totally. In France, it's more of the lunchtime.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just came from downstairs. It was lunchtime an hour ago, and you see like a lot of people. So these are all entrepreneurs, and of course, the people are managing the incubator here. They're all having lunch together. Something you wouldn't see much in the US.
Right.
So in the
Yeah.
US, yeah, in the US, you would see everyone with their sandwich on their desk, working nonstop, which I used to do, by the way.
Right.
I was adaptable, so I had to do like everyone. So I had to eat my lunch in front of my computer. But now, yeah, when I came to France, I got adapted to the nice lunch breaks. Unfortunately, since I started Rosetta, there's no time for lunch breaks. It's usually 15 minutes lunch
Mm.
break, which is too short to share with anyone. But actually, one of the things I would love to do is to go back to this nice habit. We're just having
Mhm.
1 hour break for lunch, and it's a privilege,
Right.
And the French were really good at understanding the importance of having breaks. So I think that I would love to go back to that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So could you tell us about Rosetta Omics and also just I know that you're going to talk a little bit about spatial omics profiling and how it contributes to precision medicine as well.
Yeah, totally. Maybe one thing that I've been asked a lot to do recently when I was talking with my angel investors, they were asking me about the name. Why Rosetta? So Rosetta is simply the stone, like Rosetta Stone. It's a stone that now resides in the British Museum in London. That was discovered during the time of Napoleon in Egypt. It's where Napoleon stayed for 3 years and a half in Egypt, and he brought with him hundreds of scientists and artists because he was fascinated by the Egyptian history and civilization. One of those people was named Champollion, François Champollion, and he was a linguist. And so one of the soldiers discovered the stone, and then Champollion stayed almost 10 years working on the understanding what was written in the on the stone. which was three different. It's one text written in three different languages. One of them is Greek, second is Coptic, and the third was hieroglyphics. So because he could read Greek and, and Coptic, he could understand hieroglyphics. It's a long story, but to make it short, by doing that, by decrypting the text on the stone, we were able to uncover something very mysterious, like the Egyptian civilization. So when I was looking for a name for Rosetta, I could see that what is written in the tumor, which is what we call the molecular profile that you can actually explain in terms of DNA, RNA, protein, metabolites, or lipids, is quite similar. So different languages that can lead you to understand the same thing, which is the immune system, and it can actually tell you and help you to understand why some patients would respond to certain types of treatments and others do not. So this was the resemblance of the Rosetta Stone and the tumor, and of course the connection between being an Egyptian in France and Champollion at that time. Just a little story about why the name, where the name comes from, and the spatial aspect comes in handy because with spatial omics, we can simply recognize and identify the tumor from the non-tumor tissues from the same biopsy. So, and then of course, this actually allows us to do what a pathologist would do without having to have a pathologist at this stage, which now we are short of pathologists, and this is one way to solve this issue. And then we have, of course, the laser microdissection step, where actually we can cut those regions of interest, tumor and non-tumor tissues, that goes then to the last step in our approach, which is the deep proteomics analysis, where we can then build a full molecular profile of the patient, and then based with AI, we can distinguish between, or we can predict the good responders and the bad responders, or we can predict to which treatment the patient will respond to, which is of course based on retrospective patients. So patients has already received treatments, and we have already the clinical data of those patients, so we can classify and cluster those patients based on this molecular profile and match them with the right treatment, which is a great tool for physicians, because unfortunately physicians they are short of tools to help them out. Now we are quite good in diagnostics. Unfortunately, most of the time it's still late, but we are there are a lot of companies are in the diagnostic space. But what we really is new, and what we really are trying to lead, is the simply choosing the right treatment for the patient. Once we already know that this patient has cancer, and we have multiple options, so we have chemo and we have radio and we have surgery and we have immunotherapies. So which one to give at the first stage, where we have the highest chance of success? This is where it is still very hard, and physicians need as many tools. And we're trying to provide them with this one tool, a predictive test that can simply tell them, give us a small biopsy that you already have from the diagnosis stage. We will analyze it, we run it through our algorithm, and we're going to give you a report that says, based on this molecular profile, this patient should be receiving treatment A, then B, then C. So it's a ranking of the different treatments options for this patient.
And is that where AI plays a role in Rosetta Omics?
Yeah, of course, of course. AI it does, because we have all these levels of data. So we actually, from the same biopsy, we can generate metabolomics data, lipidomics data, and proteomics data, and then of course you have all the clinical data that comes with this patient. So to actually be able to classify and cluster the patients according all these different layers of data, what we call multimodal data, you need AI to be able to do this process in an automated and in a simple way. So the AI algorithm is simply putting the patient in different subgroups based on comparison of the retrospective patients. So without AI, you cannot do that. and this is where AI comes in handy. There's so much things we can do with it. Actually, the same tool that we are now using for as a predictive test, we can use it for also diagnosis, prognosis. We can also use the same tool to tell us about new biomarkers or new targets for drug discovery. So there's so much we can do with it, and this is the right moment also again. The same as the technology readiness in respect to spatial omics, in respect to mass spectrometry. There's also the technological readiness in respect to AI. Now we have the AI algorithms, the computational power to actually to do a lot with AI. Uh, we can create a very nice set of data, multi-omics data. That's why it's called Rosetta Omics. And then to have a good end result of those data, we need very strong AI algorithm, which what we are building at the moment.
Very good. How do you balance your role? I mean, you had mentioned earlier that you're a CEO, board member. You also are an academic lecturer. How do you balance all of that?
So remember what I was telling you about what I was doing during my PhD in the US. So I was doing like maybe at least five leadership positions. I was in five leadership positions in a state level, in a national level, and college level. And I was teaching. I was doing my research. I was doing all the courses for my PhD, and I won at least 10 awards in research, in teaching, in leadership, and I finished my PhD in 3 years and a half. So it's and it was a very high GPA. I don't remember exactly what was it, but almost perfect GPA, which is almost like full score in my courses. So I cannot do one thing at a time. I can feel bored, and I have so many passions that I would like to follow. So of course, my biggest, as you can imagine, my biggest passion and my biggest commitment is for Rosetta, and whatever I do is still somehow helps me with Rosetta directly or indirectly. But I love teaching. I was a professor once. I lost my tenure track position at Cairo University because I had to go back or resign. So I had to resign. Now I'm teaching here and there a few lectures, but that's not like it's a very very limited commitment. It's actually also unpaid, so I don't get paid to teach. But I love it. I love the communication with with students, and the connection with universities, academia in general, because it's just I'm a teacher, I'm a professor in my proteins. It's like
Yeah.
in the DNA, but in my proteins, I'm a teacher, and I love to share what I learned because I know very well that if you know a lot but you don't share, if you don't teach, then the knowledge that you have is just useless. So I'm very conscious about this, and I love to share what I know, which is very little, but I love to still to share it. And then, of course, for all the advisory board members, either in medicine or Paris Saclay Cancer Cluster or Colorado State University or American University Club, all those other types of organizations. It's also for me a great way to actually learn new ideas and be part of the community that the academic community, the medical community, the leadership or the entrepreneurship communities in France or in Paris or here in the US in a global, also in a global level. I think it's important to be part of those organizations, to give back, to be part of the policies instead of having to watch what you can contribute. So it's for me, it's part of my again my protein to be in some leadership positions where I can give back, and it's very limited commitments in a way. All those positions are unpaid and volunteering, and I only do it when I have extra time from Rosetta. So it also keeps me passionate, keeps me motivated, and meet a lot of smart people, which in the end also kind of serves Rosetta indirectly.
Yeah, I feel like I mean I feel like it's a great I feel like teaching is a great way to sort of deepen your knowledge, make you think about the questions that are going to be asked of you. It's a different. I mean, teaching something more broad or something that you're working on, I feel like is different than teaching in a classroom as well, where you have a rubric and you've got to sort of, walk through somebody else's material. So it's, it depends on like the type of teaching that you're doing, but at the same time, regardless of the type of teaching, I feel like it still, extends, where your thought processes are and where your mind even is in terms of the topic just by having to do it. And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that. Can you tell us about a project or initiative at Rosetta Omics that you're particularly excited about?
Well, I'm excited about everything that we do at Rosetta level. I would say that what I'm really happy about is that we are constantly building partnerships with oncologists, pathologists, and surgeons in many hospitals. So not only in France, which is now is still our core and main focus, but now we are expanding beyond France. First, I'm really happy with all the. I'm very excited and feeling fortunate that we have at Rosetta Advisory Board a lot of key opinion leaders in the oncology space, in the pharma, in the medtech space, even like a couple of professors from ECP. I will announce very soon a professor at Paris University. So this is something that we actually trying to do constantly, and something that it's not really a project or initiative, but it's you can call it this way, is to have as many key opinion leaders in our advisory board, because it's one way for us to also test our solutions to see if what we're actually trying to develop is it useful to be challenged all the time. And it is so exciting and rewarding to see that every time we speak with an oncologist or a pathologist or a surgeon or a professor in the oncology space, they want to be they want to work with Rosetta. It's unpaid, it's a volunteering positions, but so far I think we have like 25 key opinion leaders in our advisory board, scientific and business. So this is something I've been building like consciously, like trying to build some kind of like a knowledge community about precision medicine, a fan club, I don't know how you call it, a lot to build as many partnerships
Mm,
with those physicians, because what we actually developing is for them, is to help them. And in the meetings, you will hear me saying, to that key opinion leader, asking him or her, is what we are developing going to help you or not? If it's not, please tell me
right,
now, because we're
right.
going to have to pivot, to switch, to do something else. And I do that a lot, and every time it's always like positive, like they see the value of what we're trying to build. And the same also with companies as well. So
Mm,
we have been also in touch with and been speaking with lots of big pharmas and small biotechs in the precision medicine space and oncology. And also every time we hear very positive, feedback. So I would say the initiative here that I'm excited about is building as many partnerships as possible. Like you can call it open innovation. It's like win-win, but the most important win is for the patient. I think that
mm,
we need to, at this stage, to not think too much about competition, but more about collaboration if we really want to eradicate cancer, because it
yeah,
is very complex disease, and we need a lot of collaboration. We need a lot of open-minded people to be able to solve this issue, to be able to stop cancer.
absolutely. What is, excuse me, what do you consider as the biggest challenge that you currently face?
I would say access to finance. I think that's most of the entrepreneurs at early stage will tell you.
Hmm.
So fundraising is something that I'm currently doing at the moment. It's exciting because I get to speak with a lot of smart people who have ideas, and most of them are actually very empathetic and passionate about what we're building. They all falls in love with Rosetta and the mission and the vision. But then we see also that there is a little bit of fear these days of the market, the inflation, the economy, the wars that are going on everywhere. So the overall atmosphere is not very optimistic and not very positive in respect to investment in startups, investment in general, and startups also gets the highest level of fear because it's early stage. So people are not very much keen to take risk in investing in startups. And what is actually also quite disappointing for me is to hear that someone wouldn't invest because they don't understand.
Mm,
And they prefer to invest in a games company, a game startup, or wine startup, or whatever,
right.
because it's easy for them to understand. But really, when I hear that, I'm angry inside, but I smile from outside, because if you don't want to understand cancer, if you don't see what cancer does, and if you don't want to understand what we do, because I can always answer all your questions and simplify what we do, it's a big issue. If you're going to take the easy path in investing and investing only in the easy stuff because it's just so simple, how we going to solve these kind of problematic issues like cancer or cardiovascular or all the diseases in general, like in deep tech in particular. So for me, it's like I feel I'm in a quest of educating people that it is important to care about science, about education, about complex issues. We need to invest, I'm investing myself 2 years and a half now of my life, all my savings, all my energy, all my everything in something that might not work, but I know it's going to work, of
Right.
course, and I know exactly that someone has to do it, and someone has to actually go after these very complex issues and take the full responsibility. And I feel that the community, there's so much to learn about how actually we develop drugs and how we go about diagnosing cancer. So yeah, so this is something a bit I discovered recently, that people are not everyone, I don't want to generalize, of course, but some people would tell you that yeah, they wouldn't invest because it's too complex, which is for
Yeah.
me is not a good excuse. But of course, in the other side, there are positive things too, because I also have an overwhelming support and a lot of interest from a lot of people, especially specialists in the field, like the ones who actually understand the field very well, the ones who are in pharma or medtech or biotech, the angel investors who are not from the field but invested in the field before. They understand very well the value of what we're doing. And they are very much supportive of it.
Also important, and yeah, I've found that investors are very siloed as well. I mean, I do see that they only focus on one area, and it scares them
Yeah.
to sort of think more broadly because they really don't seem to understand. But as you said, I mean, most of the concepts, in life sciences can be broken down, and you can understand them if you really wanted to, as well. So
Yeah.
Wahid, what inspires you?
What inspires me? Well, honestly, it's seeing a lot of people coming from underprivileged backgrounds. People has gone through hell, like had a very hard, tough life, and they still optimistic and they still going after their dreams, and they don't give up and they continue. There are very few people I know, like personally, who did that. And every time I just see someone random, like even like in social media or whatever, that I don't even know, but I just learn the story of someone coming from a very hard life and still keeps a smile, and they still pushing and they still going after their dreams, and they don't hate the world or whatever. It's inspiring. I've been also watching recently, as you saw, the Paralympics, all those people with disabilities, and he's still competing, and they want to, and they are so much, optimistic, and they becoming world champions after losing. Some of them don't have hands or arms or whatever. It's very inspiring for me. I get very much inspired by sport,
Absolutely.
and yeah, actually, I love sport. It's actually one of the things that inspires me myself. Like if I go for a marathon, and then I just finish, in a good timing. I feel already very happy, and ready to do more in other areas in life, like work.
Absolutely. What concerns you?
Honestly, what concerns me is all these wars that are happening everywhere. It just makes me sick and annoyed, because we are wasting billions of money in killing each other as humans, while not able to invest in what actually can save our lives, like medicine or healthcare or education. Just for me, this is the worst thing that is happening. I'm very conscious about this. As I told you, I'm a global citizen, so I'm always trying to bridge cultures and countries. And it just tires me that, despite what I think I'm trying to do my best in a very individual, small level, I see other, political leaders are not doing their job in respect to stopping all those wars and killings, and again taking all our money and spend it in killing others. Like it's just a vicious cycle that I would love it to stop, and then we can actually focus on what matters. Improving our lives as humans. So yeah, that's really what concerns me a lot.
Well, thank you
I,
for sharing
I, I
that.
yeah, I hope I can do something about it, but I don't think there's much I can do. So yeah, so at least I'm doing my best in my own little, scope of influence.
What excites you?
What excites me? Okay, so honestly, when someone just meets me in the street, which happened very few times, huh? Like in a conference or somewhere in a meeting, and says, "Ah, you, I follow you on LinkedIn. You're doing a great job. Keep going." For me, it just makes me like really happy that whatever I'm doing is having some. Influence. And of course, if someone says, "Yeah, okay, you inspire me," or something, like, which sometimes I hear, and it just makes me so humble. If I can inspire one person only in all humanity, I'm already fine. But when you hear that from some people around you, like, it's just amazing feeling. Like, if you can inspire people, that's the best thing you can do. And honestly, I'm trying in this area as well. I'm conscious about it. So try to be optimistic too. So, like, despite all the challenges an entrepreneur faces, I'm trying to be optimistic and tell people, go for it. It's still okay. It's
Mm.
painful, but it's worth it. And sometimes, yeah, I want to share also the painful, moments, but maybe one day. But at this moment, I'm more caring about inspiring others you know to follow their dreams. So I would always tell people, go for it. If someone wants to tell me that they want to do a project or a company, like, yes, go for it, follow your dreams. So that would be it.
Perfect. Wahid Awad, thank you so much for being on the Life Science Success Podcast. I greatly appreciate you being here and for telling us about Rosetta Omics.
Thank you, Don. It was nice talking to you, and hopefully we'll meet again soon in Colorado or in Paris or somewhere else.
Thanks so much.